He's got the 22 in sight here.
It's such a tough chase, isn't it? There's the United car, and 3 cars back in the queue is the Jota Sport car. United on Michelin and Jota on Goodyear.
I've got to say, what could have happened if the 37 didn't have its problems?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Gabriel Lopri at the wheel. But also, you could also roll that dice and say, what about if 32 hadn't got any problems as well?
We could have been looking at two car teams duking it out for the podium here.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my father had an expression about ifs and buts. They never won very much, but they made you feel a little bit better if you were in that one.
Murray Walker always said, it's not if, it's F1. Let's listen to Phil Hanson and United Autosports, the LMP2 leaders.
Yeah, he didn't overtake me, he just nipped it off. He's behind, so I think he's quite sensible.
Copy that. FYI, the 38 is behind you. They have a pit stop to do, but you need to keep focused and just try and push on for now.
I think I would have probably given him a bit of guidance when they were doing the pit stop.
Yeah, that was the voice of Gary Robertshaw, essentially saying, don't panic if he catches you, don't panic if he comes right up hard behind you, he will have to stop before us. And there may be a subsequent message as well. You have to wait, you can't just keep chatting to the driver, because a bit of radio chatter as you're going into Indianapolis won't be helping. You have to pick and choose where the car is around the circuit, Alan, for good reception, but also so the driver's got time to listen.
Yeah, if it's an emergency, you talk wherever.
Yeah.
And the driver just sort of stores it and deals with it the best way they can. However, you normally have got certain points on the circuit predetermined where you will speak to the driver, and it is on the straights. Here's quite easy because there's plenty of those.
Tom Laurent in the pits for Signetic Alpine.
They'll need a splash at the end of this race.
They've been so conscientious cleaning that number, they've actually cleaned the blue off the luminescent panel behind and in the tyres.
99.
Oh dear.
It's the 99 car.
That's at Tetra Rouge. That's at the exit of Tetra Rouge.
Lucas Legere in the 99 car, 7th the Dempsey Proton car is, and he was a minute and a half ahead of Com Ledegaard in the Lusic Racing Ferrari. And Augusto Farfus may pick up a spot here as well for AMR in the 98 car.
This could be a slow zone because of the tyre wall.
Definitely will.
I think the car itself's got a bit of nose damage. You can see that it's going to be dragged back. Oh god, yeah, it's quite a bit of nose damage.
That is going to shed bits all the way down the straight, but there will be a slow zone. That tyre strapping will require fixing at Tertre Rouge. It's there for a very good reason. Anybody who's watched Le Mans in the last few years will remember.
Gerald Reed getting there, and another car in trouble.
This is Team Project One.
That's still Las Garatos, isn't it? Oh,
still going slowly.
Not as designed by the maker there.
And can I just point out, the driver is on the left-hand side of that car where all the garbage is. No, and he can't. He's not like in a road car when he can lean down.
No, sorry, but
needs to stop.
Well, it's shedding bits already. And Lucas Legere will be driving all but blind.
If this carries on shedding bodywork, it's going to be a safety car.
Double yellows are in at Marshall's post 6. There is no caution there, so they're leaving the tyre barriers as they are at the moment. I fear you might be right. We may have a final hour safety car, because I don't think Eduardo Freitas would like to leave those barriers as they are. Lucas Legere will go straight through the chicane if he can spot the gap. He's trying to weave around with...
slow zones 2 and 3.
There's Eduardo in the white shirt.
I think there he's got the debris covered if he does a slow zone in that position, and it'll go down towards where that big chunk came off. But now, you know, this other bodywork, he's got to go slower. The team should also be telling him to go slower. They can see the pictures as well as we can.
Yeah, they can probably see a lot better than he can. He's just blinded by something in his eye line. Don't forget the driver very low in the car as well,
10,
barely looks out over the
9,
steering wheel.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow zones 2 and 3 deployed. Slow zones 2 and 3 deployed.
So slow zone as you come under the Dunlop Bridge, down through the Forest S's, all the way through Arnage to the first chicane. And that has been a really heavily used through Arnage, through Terre de Rouge to the first chicane. That has been used a lot during this race. Be interesting to compare. Somebody will do the statology on it to see which slow zones were used most, and this one seems to have been a lot because so many incidents have happened at Arnage.
This is
at Terre de Rouge.
This, if I'm right, is going to hurt Jota. Any chance of catching them is gone because they're going to have to go through that zone under yellow. The United car was well through under green.
It's the same for the 97 in GTE Pro. Alex Lynn was 3/4 way through the slow zone. The 51 chasing Ferrari wasn't in the slow zone. So therefore it's going to separate those two cars a little bit more as well.
Now for Jota and Davidson had pitted, so he's come out of the pits. Has he come out of the pits into the slow zone?
Yes, he has.
Yep.
Yes, he has.
Okay. So this will cost him 45 seconds, 60 seconds, probably a minute compared to what it would have taken them to go through at full race pace.
We need to see when we get the sector times coming through as the Toyota comes in and
No,
gets
no, don't do that. Oh dear. Jose Maria Lopez just carrying too much speed in.
and also trying to recover it.
Yeah.
It's easy to say sitting here. When you're in the car, you're always trying to recover it.
Yeah.
It's your, it's basically your thing until the moment of impact. But there are points when you can see a big open space as the sort of huge lockup. That's from, I presume, the spin before he. No, sorry, this is the other car, isn't it?
This is Las Caratos. Yeah. This is the one that went off at the Dunlop Bridge. So again, presumably he had a huge lose under braking.
Yeah, but he had some damage to one of the sides. I can't remember which one as well, to the floor, just around about where the wing mirror is.
It's taken him 18 minutes on that lap to bring that car around.
Oh, off. Okay, we are inside the final hour of Le Mans 2020. Toyota first, Rebellion second. Toyota now up to third with the number 7 car after delays for Rebellion number 3. United Autosport leads. Jota's gap has gone back out a little. G-Drive third ahead of Panis, Graf and Seniatech. In the top 20 positions, no longer the GTE Pro class leader because the Racing Team Netherlands car, Nick de Vries, has recovered to 20th. Aston Martin Racing lead AF Corsa, Aston Martin Racing third, AF Corsa fourth in GTE Pro, and then our AM class leader is the 6th GT car on the road, Charlie Eastwood for TF Sport, ahead of Matteo Cairoli in the Team Project 1 Ferrari, Porsche, and in third place the 77 Dempsey Proton Porsche, narrowly ahead of Nick Nielsen in the AF Corsa 83 Ferrari that is currently second in the AM points to the TF Sport Aston. So a lot to be worked out there in terms of championship points and in terms of potential winners of titles either here in the GT classes or in the season finale in Bahrain. Right now, a slow zone running from the Dunlop Bridge down to the first chicane, which is about 1.5 miles. Getting on for 2 miles, actually. Toyota's Kazuki Nakajima, the race leader, coolly, calmly, collectedly praying it doesn't happen again. 51.15 to go at Le Mans. Martin Haven, Alan McNish and Graham Goodwin watching the action with you as the 99 car, well, probably more of a 90 car now, so much of it is missing.
It seems to have partly repaired itself.
Yeah, I know, I was going to say it looks better now than it did on the straight.
Yeah, the moment it bounces, though, the whole of the bonnet comes back up again. There's not a lot left of the front. They need to get this out. It needs to be running in the final half hour. But that tyre barrier, I do think they'll want to do a little bit of work on that. The only problem is it is the final hour of the race.
Yep.
Well, this has been a bit of a starry story, hasn't it? Vitikorn Ithropovazak, the Thai driver, sharing that car with Lucas Legere and Julian Andlauer. Andlauer, the Porsche factory driver, drafted in to that 99 Proton competition car. And back in the green, there we go. What, Gav, got your tyres, where do you need them?
On its Pierre's tyre service is on its way. One battle for the podium that's not been interrupted here, by the way, is the one for the final podium place in GT Am. Both those cars just emerging from pit lane now. Matt Campbell, Nicholas Nielsen, when they came in, under 3 seconds apart. Two factory drivers, two very different cars, two very motivated young men.
These pictures here are absolutely the textbook definition of why we have a slow zone, because you can do things in a slow zone that you could never do in any other way except with a safety car, and safety cars ruin Le Mans races, have done for decades. Look at that, that's Jose Maria Lopez coming into the pits the scenic and definitely not textbook way, and that's the Project 1 car of Las Garatos coming back in with a whole lot less go in it than it had when it left the pit lane. So it's the tyre stacks that are all banded together. They need repositioning, bolting back together if required, and that conveyor belting around the outside needs replacing, repositioning, refixing, because that's what stops cars ploughing through the tyre stacks. Here's our GTE Pro Class leader for Aston Martin, the AMR Vantage of Alex Lynn.
And if they wanted to, now they could take their final stop. They've got 14 laps to go to the end. They can do 14 laps on a stint, and with a fuel stint, and right now they're just at that critical point. They've got 2 more laps in this particular fuel stint if they wish to do it, but they can take it under this slow zone.
And they are alert to that, because the 95 car in 3rd place is on pit road doing exactly that. And you know that Ferrari will be thinking exactly the same thing. So if they do that, and there's no earthly reason why they shouldn't, we will have a 2-car battle to the flag between the 97 AMR and the 51 AF Corsa Ferrari. 95 in 3rd place ahead of the 71 car. That's a little bit more of a gap. Then Risi Competizione in 5th position ahead of the least harassed of the 2 factory Porsches. But the Risi competition car is 25th overall. The better of the Porsches is 32nd overall. He's got 5 AM class GT cars ahead of him, one of which is this car. Last year's world champions, the 56 Team Project 1 car in for what will be its final stop. They are in 2nd in GTE AM. And if the factory Astons can come in now, then so too can the TF Sport Aston. Will Charlie Eastwood stay in to go to the flag? Will he swap him out for Johnny Adam, the curb-hopping hero for Aston Martin in GTE Pro a few years ago? I don't know, I think my money might be on leave the man in who's got the bit between his teeth.
I would definitely do that, as long as he hasn't been in the car too long, because he understands the car, he understands the full course yellow, the slow zone areas, everything else. The only thing that would make you want to change it is if he actually needed a new set of tyres, and then you could think about switching it out. But Charlie Eastwood's done 2 stints already.
Well, let's hear from Rebellion number 1, currently in 2nd place.
FYI, Norman, the sister car has a bit of a loss and is now P4 just behind the Toyota. We are still P2.
Mais est-ce que si on n'a pas de problème, la Toyota peut nous revenir dessus ou pas?
Négatif. Mais pour ça, il faut sauver les freins.
Bah là, sincèrement, je vais cueillir les champignons, c'est pareil, il y a 0 attaque. Je suis en dehors de l'histoire, en face de marteau, je le sauve à fond.
Je suis sûr que tu fais du bon boulot.
Si on arrive à éviter l'arrêt, c'est quand même pas mal pour le coach. Donc regarde, même s'il faut sauver comme un fort en descente, regarde si ça peut passer, mais...
Ok, normal, il y a très peu de chance. On reste concentré sur notre objectif, on sauve les freins.
13 laps left, the engineer there giving him a big up. You're doing a really good job, the Toyota ahead of you. Toyota number 7 behind, but he is a lap behind. Of course, the longer the slow zone goes on, the less chance Toyota has to exploit its power throughout the entire lap.
And also the better it is for that car, because he said, remember, conserve your brakes, conserve your brakes. That was one of the points for the Rebellion, and we heard it for the number 1 car as well. Yep. So therefore, there's less laps that are going to be at full throttle, full braking.
And of course, the same for the 95 and the 97 Aston Martin. 97 particularly apposite, because that is the race leader in GTE Pro, and they had brake worries.
But now they are 2 minutes ahead
Oh, G-Drive, this is the third place car, Jean-Eric Verne, and that is down at Indianapolis. Why has he gone off?
Well, he's locked up all tyres.
He has.
Right front, the right looks a little bit down.
It does. Okay, let's take a look. Into Indianapolis.
Something definitely happened coming in there. He had a bobble coming in and then avoided to the right-hand side. It's a suspension failure, I think, on this car of G-Drive. Let's hear Jean-Eric Verne.
I broke the suspension broke in the corner.
Wow. Suspension failure.
Wow.
As he came in there, there's a massive, massive load in that corner. And you saw the car wiggle underneath. He lost the line. He managed to take to the escape road and get the car stopped. So there's limited damage, it's suspension damage. But that means that third place car isn't going to be third.
It's not Palace Racing going to make it.
12 months ago, he would have been buried in the gravel. That's a whole different kettle of fish now. It's all tarmac, and that right front corner just collapsed. Is there a scarier corner in which for the suspension to collapse than the right-hander at Indianapolis?
Yeah, if your left front suspension collapses at that point, then you just go straight into the wall on the left-hand side. That's much, much worse.
I see your right front and take that left front, yes.
I would like to see it again to see if he touched the right-hand side curb, because that inside, that right side is the unloaded where it failed. And normally it fails where there's a big load comes into it.
This is now going to be the third place car in LMP2. He was 4 minutes 40 behind Jean-Eric Verne. They are not going to fix the G-Drive car in that time. So Mathieu Vazevière and Panis Racing may move up onto the podium. You can see GT cars in front of them, the Iron Lynx car, the pink highlights on the Iron Dames, and in between them, one of the Aston Martins, and Jean-Eric bringing his car back as quickly as he can, commensurate with not binning it any further. Oh my goodness, again, Le Mans, 43 minutes to go, reminding us, don't take me for granted here, guys.
No,
I've got a lot more tricks up my sleeve.
Never ever take this place for granted. You think you're just running to the end of the race. The car's running fast though. Whichever way you look at it, the car is still traveling very, very quickly, and speed, load, everything else. Never mind fatigue. We talk about driver fatigue. Think about component fatigue.
Absolutely.
Think about the times those dampers have been up and down the spring. Think about the times that brake pedal has been smacked into the footwell by the driver trying to stop the car.
And imagine all the curb strikes. Every single time they thump it over the rumble strips. Every single time we see that super slow-mo of them dropping a wheel over the exit into the gravel, and that thump as it comes back onto terra firma. So much strain going into these cars, and that's before you even count the aerodynamic loads at the ridiculous pace that these things travel at.
Well, that will put a second Goodyear shod P2 onto the podium at this point.
At this point.
At
again,
this point.
Chickens not being rounded up for counting yet. Nicolas Jamin there waiting at Panis Racing. I don't think that anybody is looking at changing drivers at this stage of the race. But you always have your next driver in rotation, suited and booted at all times, because exactly of this reason. He comes up behind the Iron Dames Ferrari, and that car being driven by Rahel Frey in 9th place in GTE AM. And the other Iron Lynx car in front, that's Claudio Schiavone. He's just come out of the pits in the number 60 car.
That, by the way, potentially removes another rookie podium sitter, Mikkel Jensen.
Yep. Who was definitely a star of this LMP2 race.
100%.
Well, we've seen him in a couple of other WEC races that putting in a performance that makes you sit up and note, but he delivered a very, very good job in practice and also in the race here. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's bitter, bitter disappointment at this moment in time. There's so much pressure builds up through the course of the year to get to this point. You've put in all of the hard work within the site, and then suddenly it all slips away.
It's going to be worse still for G-Drive, because we're going back to green. That slow zone has been withdrawn, so the track is back to green.
Wow. And the 97 cars into the pits. The race leading GTE Pro pops into the pits at that point for its final stop. The 51 is half a lap behind now, the second place car.
Don't often get an aerial view of our helicopter. This is from the Goodyear Zeppelin, hovering above the Circuit de la Sarthe. Good view from up there, Graham Goodwin, is it?
It's absolutely amazing, unbelievably stable, fantastic view, and remarkably quiet.
That's why it makes such a great camera platform. In the pits for Aston Martin, the 97 car. So AF Corsa were behind them on track. Are they going to stop as well now with James Collado, or are they going to go to the end of this fuel load and see what hand fate deals them? Alan, what's your call?
No, definitely they should go to the end of it now to see if they can actually gain something. If there's another slow zone, then there's a possibility, and there is another yellow, actually, as it turns out, entry into Porsche.
Curves, yeah.
So the 39 has stopped in the entry to Porsche. That's the SOS 24 Haas by James Allen at the wheel. And that's in the gravel, I think. So yes, they should stay out. Safety car, safety car.
Oh,
the pit lane closed.
And that's the end of the race. No, green, 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 green. Go, 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 go. Now, whether that's an error or not, it was green. The Aston Martin gets out.
No, and the safety car.
So now anybody else in the pit lane, United's 32.
That's a big shot. That's a big accident as well, James Allen.
Oh, hard luck, James Allen.
Hang on a minute. That's G-Drive out of third, Graf out of fifth, which means Signatech Alpine are now up to fourth place.
And need one more incident to salvage a podium from this. Absolutely staggering. Staggering. And poor James Allen starred at the beginning of this race. That's what it means. Devastation in the...
Can you believe the last hour that we've had until now? The rebellion problems. Then we've had the G-Drive issues. We've had two Porsches hitting the barriers. Now we've had James Allen in the LMP2.
Always. What a race this place produces year after year. Just when you think, OK, we've got all our ducks in a row.
Look to your left-hand side. That's where he is. So he's lost that somewhere in the first right-hander of Porsche. Quite late on in the corner, actually.
Yeah, he didn't look like he'd come through the gravel there. I don't know how he's managed to take the corner of that car off on the barrier. Pit entry is closed, though, so Ferrari don't get to roll that dice. They are now committed to running to the end of their fuel.
It might be good news after bad news for G-Drive.
Yeah.
It's not going to be very much of a consolation to them, but it might, depending how quickly they can turn that car around, bring them out in fourth.
Depends when the pit lane opens again. Grown men weep at the end of this race, whether with joy or with frustration, and not just in the commentary box either, up and down the pit lane.
Our grown men weep, not just at the end, I can tell you, all the way through this race.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the, it's what I was saying before, it's such a pressure build-up race because it's not just one race in the season, it is the race of the season. It is the whole annual build-up to get here. And especially, I think, with this particular year, it takes on a special significance just by the fact it didn't have all of the other things. But James Allen's limping a little bit. Yeah. He's definitely had a knee bump, I would have suggested, from that, where his side-to-side knees impact. Yep. And the doctor's there in front of him. The good thing is that he's standing. The good thing is that he's not actually being assisted to walk, but he'll be a sore boy tomorrow.
Yeah, the legs fly around inside the cockpit, don't they? They're the one thing you can't really restrain in a violent accident like that. G-Drive working on the right front corner of the car that was in third place before a suspension failure at Indianapolis about 5 minutes ago. So in sight of the final 3/4 of an hour of the race, their podium snatched away from them. The car that inherited it, Panis Racing, Mathieu Vazivière, the number 31 car, and the car that was chasing them, the Graf Racing So24 Haas by Graf car, James Allen, now stricken and in the barriers. So 2 of our top 5 LMP2 cars out of the equation within 5 minutes of each other.
I think now they'll take the opportunity to clear up all of the little bits and pieces that have been lying around the circuit. They want to have a clean run towards the end. Pit lane entry open so the 51 Ferrari can also follow its sister car in. However, it does have to stop at the end of the pit lane until the next safety car that's in line comes around.
Have we got still pit stops due for second, third and fourth in GTM, Al? Because They are almost nose to tail in this queue.
Just 1 second, please.
They're all in the same safety car queue, I believe.
Team Project One is the Mentos car.
There it is.
And there it is, further back, right at the back, the white and blue car. That look at what IMSA livery does that look like?
Then the 77.
No, they've all done their stop.
And then the 83. They are the two cars between the 83. Sorry,
There's the 77, there's the 83. That's second, third and fourth, with just two other cars in the way.
No, they're all in line. This is a race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rock and roll.
Well, the Golf Porsche isn't in it, and the LMP2 United Autosports car's not in that battle, but that's a real IMSA livery. I'm trying to now think what the Mentos car looks like. I've been thinking all race long, what does it remind me of? And I can't think. It's like a Whittington Brothers colour scheme or something. TF Sports Charlie Eastwood not in that queue, is he? He's 2 minutes clear of that group. Well, there's the 71 Ferrari, beg your pardon, a pit out.
Yeah, just waiting. Gonna have to wait a little bit longer because the safety car that they will have to pass before this train is released is only coming into the final chicane now. Looking out of the beautiful sunny comms box window, then it's actually literally in the middle of the chicane at this moment.
What's going on here at the end of the pit lane? The green lights are flashing on, but they're being shown a red flag. So which, I'm assuming at all times you obey the red, but why are the pit lane exit lights flashing green?
Pit entry is open.
It's pit exit that's closed. Yeah, pit entry is open after the first lap.
But pit exit is closed with a flag, but open with lights.
We saw when the Aston Martin had gone out, someone came across with a safety car board after he had gone, and also with the
red flag. But
this gentleman here with a safety car.
Yeah, see now they're being released behind that safety car queue, but once that queue has gone by, until the next safety car, say for instance is in the Ford chicane, the pit exit should remain open. I don't know. Maybe it's only open until cars have exited the pit lane to join that queue.
It's open at points when the next safety car comes to a position.
Yeah.
And so there's defined points when it's open and closed.
But they just raised the red flag as soon as the last car had gone past them. They can't possibly have known where the other safety car was.
No, they know exactly where it is.
Here we go. There is Charlie Eastwood in the red Aston Martin. He's leading that safety car queue.
The car you're thinking of, by the way, is the Löwenbräu car, isn't it?
Oh, good shout. Iron Dames are in the pit lane for the final time. 32 minutes to go here at Le Mans. Charlie Eastwood being followed by the 51 AF Corsa Ferrari James Collado. That did not stop, did it?
No, it hasn't stopped yet. That still owes a stop. Remember, we were talking about should he stay out and hope for a slow zone. And then immediately this safety car came and that blocked the pit lane because it was closed at that moment in time. The Aston Martin was already in the pits by that point. James Collado can actually stay out for probably 4 or 5 more laps, though, under safety car speed. He doesn't have to come in straight away. He's only done 11 of 14 racing laps.
Larry Lightweight Duncan Vincent joins us. More trouble for Dragon Speed.
Oh, dear me.
Oh, here we go. Now, cars are running too slowly and are starting to overheat. Is that what we're seeing? Henrik Hedman at the side of the track.
That car was running where?
31 minutes left in Le Mans 2020. They were 17th overall, 13th in LMP2. And I think we see nothing more dramatic here than the car pulling off onto the hard shoulder. Undoubtedly, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. Cars do not like running slowly at these speeds. They're not designed to do that. The airflow through the radiators is... Oh, blimey. That's the immediate aftermath of that James Allen crash from the viewpoint of TF Sports Charlie Eastwood. Just imagine if Charlie had been 2 or 3 seconds closer up the road to that one, he might have been involved in the incident.
You don't want to imagine as this train is now left out. But coming back to Hedman, he was moving a little bit again, but seems to have stopped once more. And this is on the run down from Mulsanne Corner to Indianapolis.
Half a lap away and a lifetime ebbing slowly away from the team.
So, third and fourth, bit of a battle on maybe. So we've got the Toyota now, because of this, is 2.1 seconds ahead of Louis Delatraz as Henrik Hedman gets that car moving, but moving from one side of the circuit to the other as opposed to necessarily going very far.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. They're talking him through on the radio.
Elton Julian there, the team principal of Dragon Speed, ex-racing driver himself of note.
This is horrendous. We ought to just stop the Le Mans 24 hours after 22 hours most years, because generally the remaining 2 hours, it's cruel. It's cruel. Just kicking a man when he's down. You know, whether you're a fan or a team member, it's brutal some days, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, but that's why it makes it so special. That's why it makes it such an achievement to finish well, to finish on the podium, and if you're extremely unlucky in life, to actually end up standing up on there.
Well, to finish this year of all years appears to be, you know, one of the toughest mountains to climb, doesn't it? And team manager of Car 27 there being asked to check his Discord because he's been sent a message by Eduardo Freitas. So will Wingfoot win it? Well, at the moment, not yet. However, they have two cars potentially on the LMP podium, on the LMP2 podium, and Michelin have one.
The one thing, sorry, that's just I've got in the back of my mind is that, remember at that pit stop, the spinning wheels of Louis Delatraz, and I've not actually seen anything coming up about it. Not sure why, but that's still sitting in the back of my mind. For 22, though, the leaders, Phil Hanson's at the wheel. No such problems for them so far. Let's listen to his radio.
Phil, just make sure you're driving free, like offset to the car in front, so you're getting cool air.
Yeah, that's a funny one, though, because yes, that's good. However, what that does do at times is put you onto the marbles, which then means that when you do restart, you've got zero grip. And so therefore, if you do that, you've got to work the tyres very aggressively to clean them. You can do it on the straights like he's doing at the moment. So he's the sixth car back there, just the blue car that's a little bit out of line behind the Toyota. And so you can do that. However, it's not just quite as simple as it sounds. Just pull out of the way and not do anything else.
And what about our Aston Martins that lead both GT classes? We ride with Charlie Eastwood in the TF Sport team. Would this be one of Tom Ferrier's best days ever? Seem to remember him having a World Endurance win and saying, well, it's my best day ever, obviously apart from when I got married and apart from when my kids were born, and you know, rapidly undigging that hole. But, oh boy, well, you know, could it just go? But what are the Aston Martins doing? What are all these GT cars doing? Are they slowly boiling up as well? You know, the safety cars don't progress at much speed when you look at frail heating systems that are already half clogged with rubber and clag and sand and leaves and all sorts of other debris. Doesn't take much, as all classic car owners know, for the temperature gauge to start creeping up, and they can't just turn the heater on full.
36 car is now up into fourth position in LMP2. What an extraordinary run from the back that car's had from the start of this race.
What a Toyota worried about. They're not just having a chat about where they're going for dinner.
Edict Sports will be by the G-Drive car at the end of this lap.
No. Top 5 for Edict Sport from pit lane, a lap behind after a car that was built into a new tub. Well, there's going to be a race on for that, isn't there? Here's the 26 G-Drive car, new left front corner, and I'm sure everything else thoroughly checked out. And Jean-Eric Verne heads up towards the end of the pit lane. Where is the Edict Sport car? Which safety car queue is he in?
It's not in that queue, so I think they're going to retain at least 5th place at this point.
At least a minute advantage then, maybe a minute 30. No, don't see the Edict Sport car in that queue at all, do we?
No, it's not that. They came by me as I saw the car move. It definitely wasn't behind that car.
So there goes Jeff out of pit lane.
Whichever way, I have to say, for that Edict Sport, as the 88 car now comes back into the box. I think they have had a fantastic recovery
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's races and there's recoveries, and that was a very good recovery.
Henrik Edman makes it back to pit lane.
Yeah, well done indeed to the Dane. Swede rather, and the car that was the first to be written out of the race, the 88 Dempsey Proton car, number 88, no longer the last car, because the 75 Iron Lynx car, Bruno Mastronardi, has finally dropped behind it. Graham, it's 147 laps behind the leader, 379. What percentage of the leader's distance does it need to do to be classified?
70%, so that's Don Bastian will at least have.
Will they finish?
I don't think that's the case, is it?
I don't think that's enough, is it?
But at least starters, Don Bastian will be the oldest starter ever in the 2020 Le Mans 24 Hours. He breaks that record by a distance. And have to say, stayed without trouble. Mr. Bastien. I didn't see him have an incident.
No.
Not been in the box for the entire 24 hours, but
I didn't either, and I don't think we've got a note of that car having an incident.
Other than
the factory pro driver getting tubbed off on lap 1.
Stories galore, as there always are at the Le Mans 24 hours. Here comes the second safety car through, queue through right now.
Yeah, past us as you watch the queue heading down to Indianapolis.
28 car comes into the pits as the safety car pulls off.
We go green, the safety cars have all pulled off, and suddenly the battle for second, third and fourth. Team Project One, Matteo Cairoli flashing the headlights furiously at the Red River Sport Ferrari. Through comes United Autosport car and the 83 Ferrari right behind the 77 Porsche. This is for position, this is for third place in the final 30 minutes of Le Mans 2020. The Gulf Racing Porsche, the black and orange cars in the way. The Red River Ferrari stays out of the way. And battle is on, and this is for third, but right now the Ferrari that was second before the last round of pit stops has got 2 Porsches in its sights. This could be a spectacular finish to the GTE Am race. Charlie Eastwood is a safety car in front. Busy, busy track. In that Ferrari is Nick Nielsen. In the Porsche, factory driver Matt Campbell. In the 78 Dempsey Proton, the Felbermeyer car getting out the way.
At the back of that, there are 4 Porsches in a row, and the one at the front and the one at the back in podium positions.
Yep.
Now not the one at the back. The 78 car bails out of this.
Oh, up the inside there just for a moment, the white and blue car. Matteo Cairoli, they've got their hot shoe in for the final stint.
Ben Barker lets it go.
Well, he does. He doesn't want to get in the way of this. Now, Ben, just don't block this battle for the podium.
Now it's for position for second, because with that move past the Gulf car, Cairoli has now got 77 gone. Now here comes Nielsen. So the 3 cars for position.
2 factory drivers in the Porsches, Matt Campbell, Matteo Cairoli, both last year were in the junior factory program, and they are nose to tail. Matteo Cairoli in the white car, Matt Campbell in the blue and checkerboard car, and behind Nick Nielsen in the Ferrari, just a car length back. They've got more AM cars in front. The Project One car is fresh out of the pit lane. 61, the Lusic Racing Ferrari, our pole sitter in the class. They all go by the 98, I beg your pardon,
no,
that's
95. That's a 95.
95 Aston Martin. That's third in the pro class. The AM cars go spearing by it.
I think he's just trying to get well out of the way. He didn't want to get involved in anything that could take away that third place.
Look at this, second, third and fourth. That's what you call a final 20 minutes of GT racing. Here we go, side by side, and they're going 3 wide. Matteo Cairoli's got nothing to fight with. Matt Campbell goes by. Nick Nielsen goes by. No, he doesn't. Matteo Cairoli comes back in.
They're both off. They're both
Nielsen
off.
cuts it.
He can't.
They'll have to give those places back. Matt Campbell cuts it on the exit. That is Matteo Cairoli cuts it on the exit. That's undone. The penalty for the other 2, effectively. So through that comes 77. Matt Campbell up to second. Here's the battle for third. Graham Goodwin Oh, blimey.
And the car behind, a lap down, is for fourth. Any two of these have a bit of a thump here.
Oh,
and
yes.
the Gulf Racing car.
Yes, I hadn't spotted that. He is in fourth
Oh,
position.
he's gone wide, he's gone wide.
Oh!
He's off the podium before the lap is out at this point.
He was second as we went green. He's down to fourth now, or not quite.
Not really meant to be doing that, chap.
He is down to fourth, isn't he?
Yes.
Second is Dempsey Proton, third Project One, fourth now Project One. Up to third has gone the Ferrari for AF Corsa.
Matt Campbell has made good his escape here for the moment.
Well, Matt Campbell had the pace right from the moment they were released, didn't he? Was he just better at keeping pressure in the tyres, at keeping heat in the tyres and the brakes?
I think he also got a clean run out of it at the second chicane.
Ben Barker right there. He's in fifth place in that black Golf Porsche.
James Collado, by the way, on pit lane for his final stop.
Okay, final roll of the dice for AF Corsa, the Ferrari team in second place.
The Rebellion #1 car in and out, as is the Panis Racing Orica in third place at the moment in LMP2.
Final stops for everybody. Final stop for the sixth place E-Export car of Richard Bradley. Final stop for Cool Racing's Nico Lapierre. Final stop here for the second place car in GTE Pro. The world champions, James Collado and Alessandro Pierguidi, in that car last season.
Oh, something's just flown off one of the cars there.
Was that somebody else's debris from one of the numerous halt and lame who have come through?
I don't know, but
it flew.
Well, they're closing again on Matt Campbell in that checkerboard and blue car.
Oh,
And the Ferrari and the Porsche come together in the chicane. Ben Barker unlaps himself, but it's not for position. It's not for position. It's not for position. He's 2 laps behind them. And he unlaps himself on Matteo Cairoli in the Team Project One car. That was our GTM World Championship winning car last year as well.
this is where they all blew the chicane. Campbell did it, and then also Nielsen followed, and then on the other side of it, Cairoli just blew it on the exit for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
I think he was too busy watching where the other car was coming back.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if he hadn't have done that, there could have been an argument for him to get all the places back.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Race control would have insisted on, I think. Now they're just going to let them race.
There's frustration there from Cairoli, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the AF Corsa team, Francois Perotto in the middle going, come on, son, come on. Whatever the Italian equivalent of that is.
7 car is away and clear, and also on pit lane is the #3.
Yep. Third place for the #7 car, fourth place for the #3 Rebellion, and it may not get away cleanly again.
Briefly retook that position in the pit lane, but that's comprehensively handed back now.
There's Louis Delatraz. #7 car, Toyota, incredibly back on the podium. This is the car that 12 hours in looked like an easy winner.
Okay, Phil, we have to stop again, so just please, we just need to push on to try and get a gap so we can stop and come out ahead of the 38. So really, really push. Yeah, just push.
Yeah, but looking at it, the 38's also got to stop again as well. So United Autosport are talking about it. They've got to stop in 1 lap, whereas the 38's actually got a bit of a strategical advantage. There's 6 laps to go, approximately, but they need 3 more before they need to stop. So again, that whole slow zone situation could be something that could benefit them.
Leader in for the final pit stop of the TSO 50's career here at Le Mans.
There's Zach Brown, United Autosports co-owner with Richard Dean. United Autosports leading this race. At one stage, a very strong looking 1-2, 22 and 32, swapping the lead between them. #8 Toyota heads out for the final time here at Le Mans on its way to a hat-trick of wins, or is it? 16 minutes away from the end of the race. Let's hear from Jota Sport.
We don't know why, but 22 is currently fuel saving. 22 is fuel saving. We should be able to catch them up at this rate, or at least close the gap. It'll be a race in pit lane.
Yeah, because the other point of that is that the 38, the Jota car, will have to take on less fuel as well.
It'll be stationary for a shorter period. So any moment now that Ant Davidson can close on Phil Hanson will be exaggerated by that shorter fill.
That wasn't correct, though. He didn't tell him to fuel save. He told him to push.
Yeah.
I think this is a delayed message. He was fuel saving.
I see.
And maybe he has been told to push on.
He definitely has.
Absolutely.
Open the taps and give it everything. If we have to spend 5 more seconds on pit lane, so be it. Be in front by as much as you can.
He wants to be in front when he comes back out, just in case there is a late safety car. If there is a late safety car and he's behind, that means the 38 may be able to make it to the end without coming in for that extra splash.
And track position will be everything. Phil Hanson versus Anthony Davidson, one of the young rising stars of LMP2, versus a former Toyota factory driver and a veteran sports car racer. This for victory at Le Mans, victory for their teams, victory for their tyre companies. Michelin lead with United, Goodyear chase with Jota. Well, throughout the race, there's been nothing to choose between the tyres, either in pace or longevity, only in the fluctuating fortunes of the race. 5 laps separate Toyota number 8 from the Rebellion. The Toyota would have to stop, well, actually on the last lap, because if it doesn't cross the line over the last lap, it doesn't finish the race, so we won't even go there. But that is our top 3 at the moment. Rebellion still taking the fight to Toyota, and as in qualifying, they are splitting the Toyotas in the race on a combination of pace, relentless refusal to surrender, and just a smidge of fortune going in the wrong direction for the number 7 car. They should have been comfortable winners here. Halfway through the race, 2 in the morning, they were looking very much in charge. The number 8 car had had tyre issues, brake issues rather. Now number 7 with a turbocharger having to be replaced because of a broken exhaust mounting, and also floor issues. Saw Louis Delatraz, number 3 car, running wide and over the Dunlop chicane.
Just 21 seconds is the gap between Lopez and Delatraz.
Yeah, it is a battle for position for the podium, isn't it? Between Toyota number 7, Rebellion number 3. Doesn't take much imagination to change those places around. Here is our GT Pro leader, Alex Lynn, in the 97 Aston that he regularly shares with Maxime Martin. Harry Tincknell joining the team. If this car goes to the top of the podium, Harry Tincknell wins his 2nd Le Mans 24 hours.
In 2 different classes.
In 2 different cars.
So, LMP2 back in 2016, Alan, for Harry?
Sorry?
LMP2 for Harry in 2016, was it? Tincknell.
I can't remember.
I think it was.
I remember the race, but I can't remember the year.
I think it was because it was a surprise that the, by then quite elderly, Gibson actually scored the win.
It was the mighty 38, which is the one that's fighting for the victory now, but in same team Jota, but certainly a very, very different car. I think
Absolutely
you are correct.
Right.
So yeah, an LMP2 win on the first attempt here at Le Mans, and then Aston Martin with GTE Pro, but still very nervous. People looking on. Felipe Albuquerque,
yeah, nobody
extremely
can look,
nervous.
Nobody can look. Harry's driven some stuff here, hasn't he? He's in an Aston Martin, he's raced a Ford, he's raced for Jota Sport, he raced a front-wheel drive Nissan.
He did indeed.
Yeah.
He drove a front-wheel drive Nissan.
He raced it.
A fair way to put it.
He scooped up wildlife with it as well.
Well, there's your leader in GT Pro and also in LMP2. LMP2 has to hustle on. He's got to try to make this last stop and get out in front of Anthony Davidson, the Jota car, which is 53 seconds behind, but with a pit delta on the pit lane itself of probably about that, then it's going to be very close coming out.
Yeah, it may come down to who has the shorter fuel fill and who can find the in and out lap pace. Phil Hanson pushing on ahead of Jota Sport. Panis in 3rd place. The 31 car has had a clean race all the way through so far.
Okay, Phil, we have to box this lap for a splash of fuel. Watch this lap for a splash of fuel.
What's the scenario? What's the situation?
We're going to come out right next to the 38, so it's going to be neck and neck. Difficult to say. I think they might have an advantage, but okay, we just need to push on and see what we can do and make the pit stop as good as we can.
Do they not have to stop again?
Negative.
No, they don't have to stop. They've done 9 laps, actually. That is a slight miscalculation on my side. They've done 9 laps, but those 9 laps were also including the safety car. And in the safety car, you use significantly less fuel than you do under green. And so there's probably 4 of those laps that were safety car laps, so they will be good to go to the end.
That's why Gary Robertshaw is a team manager, and you're... No, oh, hang on a minute, you are too.
Well, not quite. I don't make those strategic decisions.
So, 38. This is going to be Johnny Adam all over again, isn't it? Aston Martin versus Corvette. This is going to be chicane hopping, door-to-door, wheel banging. Desperate, every inch.
Oh, he's lost it coming in.
Okay, no, it's out the gravel. He won't speed into the pit lane.
Oh, that's why he looked nervous. That is why Felipe Albuquerque looked nervous.
They know that 38 does not, or they believe 38 does not have to stop. It is a drag race, 9 minutes to the flag.
And 38 doesn't have any traffic from here through to the actual start-finish line. He has got cars in front of him, but they're all LMP2s. As you see, Hanson locking up the rears as he downshifted into the chicane. Stopped on the marks.
Back it in, baby. Didn't speed in the pit lane. Must not speed out of it. 4 laps of fuel, 3 laps of fuel go in. And they'll be measuring that to the gram as it goes in. Here comes Anthony Davidson. Phil Hanson versus Anthony Davidson. One British team is going to win this. One British driver will be first at the checkered flag. Is it going to be the young boy or is it going to be the veteran? And Phil Hanson is in front. Anthony Davidson is coming with a head of steam. Hanson has track position and there is traffic.
It's about the...
Don't go through the gravel. Phil Hanson now. Push, push, push. 8 minutes till the end of the 2020 Le Mans 24 hours. Oh boy, Felipe going calm, calm, calm. And push, push, push. 6 seconds, 8 minutes. That is the arithmetic. Faites vos jeux, monsieur, faites vos jeux. I ain't putting anything on this. 31 in 3rd place, 36 has stopped. Cinetic Alpine in 4th place in the pits for a final splash. I just don't even want to imagine what the radio messages are to Ann Davidson. You're going to be right with him, mate. You can do this. And Phil Hanson, well done, mate. You got out in front. You can do this.
Let's remember, none of these 3 drivers have taken a win at Le Mans. None of them. No matter what the experience levels, the team hasn't.
Now, interestingly, Phil Hanson has much fresher tyres on than Anthony Davidson. Davidson's have done 1 stint more, I think. So Hanson, they'll have the same amount of fuel. There's only 7 minutes remaining for both of them. But Hanson has fresher tyres, less experience. Oh, boy.
And by the way, lest we forget, none of the drivers in the 38s have won at Le Mans either.
Wow. First-time winners beckoning. Whether it's one of these two. Has anybody in 31 won? 1-1-1?
Let's have a look.
You know, just so we're not counting our chickens.
Julien Canal has won.
Julien Canal. Okay, he's won in LMP2 with Rebellion, right?
No, he's won in GT1 and GT.
Okay.
His first 3 races at Le Mans, Julien took the class win.
Okay, Phil Hanson flashing the headlights as the heavily damaged Dempsey Proton car rattles its under tray around the circuit. They are desperate to get to the finish with that car, Julian Andlar at the wheel. Nobody's breathing in this garage or this garage, not for the next 7 or 8 minutes. How many more laps are they going to do? Phil Hanson leads in LMP2.
Bill is 5.5 seconds behind, but he should be saving fuel, so he should be fine.
5.5 seconds, a long look in the mirror as he comes out of Arnage. Where is he? Where are those headlights? Felipe Albuquerque, I'm not sure I've seen a man look quite so nervous in a very long time.
Well, this young man, silver-rated driver, remember, on the up in his career, and is...
Risk point here, risk point.
Absolutely.
Well, he's going to have to work his way past that Ferrari. Here comes Davidson. What are the team telling him?
Push as hard as you can. Hanson is the car in front. Push as hard as you can. Let's go get him. Let's go get him.
They are...
Yeah.
They are not fuel-saving.
Oh, into the pits. And that's it. It's all over for 38. Look at that. The relief on Felipe Albuquerque's face. Don't. Remember Toyota. But
So
I think
they
they're
did stop
breathing.
again.
I think they're breathing again. I don't think they've all turned the colour of their masks. 38 is in the pits. They couldn't make it despite the safety car. 2 laps short on fuel. However, they will still be ahead of the 31 Panis Racing car. They will be on the podium. Let's hear from our race leaders, Toyota Gazoo Racing.
2 laps to go. 2 laps to go.
And behind him, you could see the blue nose of the 31 Panis Racing LMP2 car, third in LMP2, and Davidson leaves the pits.
And a man whose name in Le Mans history just a few years ago was as the unluckiest man in Le Mans history, stopping as he started the final lap of the race, now stands on the threshold of bringing it home for a hat-trick of wins.
Yep.
Amazing stuff.
Gives and it takes away this race, doesn't it?
It most certainly does, in the most dramatic fashion.
Yeah. I wonder if a hat-trick of wins is ever still going to expunge the memory of that final lap. It'll be with him
gives
until...
it a good go. Gives it a good go.
Be with him until he dies, won't it? That last lap and that heartbreak, but the jubilation they will feel standing on the top step of the podium, should they make it, for a third straight time.
That will be triple wins. The hat-trick for Seb Buemi and Kazuki Nakajima. It'll be a second win on his debut at this race with Toyota, and a second factory for a win for Brendan Hartley.
And you just saw the GTE Pro leader, Alex Lynn, for Aston Martin Racing, and for TF Sport, Charlie Eastwood here, looking cool, calm and collected, with just 2 minutes 45 to the end of the 24 hours. TF Sport leading in GTE AM by nearly a minute.
Just bring him home, baby. Just bring him home.
Right, now, top gear, Ted. Select top gear, leave it in it all the way round. There is Mike Conway. What might have been for the number 7 Toyota.
Emotion in the eyes of Mike Conway.
Yeah, again. You know, 2 years in a row they had the pace and they were not allowed to take it away from the number 8 car. This time, fate has dealt them a blow, and the number 8 car once more has been favoured by Le Mans. Not by the organisers, not by the team, but by fortune. 2 minutes to go. This will be the final lap of Le Mans 2020. The number 8 Toyota Gazoo Racing car comes across the line at speed. I'm sure Kazuki Nakajima will be hearing strange things. It would be a very unusual Le Mans winner who didn't on the final lap. They'll be hearing strange things in the Aston Martins. They'll be hearing strange things in the number 22 United Autosport car as well.
Lindsay Moore back in the UK corrects me. It's 2014 for Harry's fourth ever sports car race. Thanks very much, Linz. Wish you were here.
Well,
Wish all of you were here.
At least she knows his history. Final jibe there, Al. Final, I promise you. We won't get any more in before the checkered flag. Here comes our race leader then, Toyota Gazoo Racing, Kazuki Nakajima, taking the car to the line. He's shared it with Sebastian Buemi for victory the last 2 years. Fernando Alonso, I'm pretty certain, will be watching from back home and wondering whether maybe he just should have stayed another year to go for that third straight win. He was a world champion with Toyota, with the 2 drivers in this car. excepting Brendan Hartley, who has taken his place this year. He won Le Mans twice in one wonderful season for them. Maybe it could have been a third. And there aren't too many that have won 3 Le Mans, and there are very few who have won 3 in a row. Now the teams start to head to the pit wall. At this stage as well, crowds would normally be jamming the barriers all the way around the circuit, waiting to be released after the checkered flag. Wherever you are, hopefully next year, you will be here with us and have the chance to do that, to celebrate those who have won, to celebrate those who have finished, and to celebrate those who have gone down trying. 24 hours, the toughest race in endurance motor racing is heading towards its conclusion. And it will perhaps not be a major surprise, Graham, that Toyota is going to win this. A bit of a surprise that they don't have 2 cars on the top 2 steps of the podium, though.
Yeah, there's a moment there as it passes the 24 car. That's Nielsen Racing. They're going to make the finish on their debut here.
Yep.
That's the first step on their journey here at the Le Mans 24 Hours. But Toyota will be pleased with the win. They'll have 2 cars on the podium. It won't be the top 2 steps. More legends created.
Yep. And critically for the drivers, the number 7 car, Jose Maria Lopez, Kazuki Nakajima and Mike Conway, not so much ground lost as they had feared to the teammates in the number 8. 1 race remains after this double points encounter here at Le Mans, and that will be in December in Bahrain to finish what has turned out to be, was never scheduled to be, the longest ever World Endurance Championship season. 18 months and more it will have continued. And the number 8 Toyota heading through the Porsche curves for the final time at race pace. They will come across the line at a little over 24 hours and a minute to take victory here at Le Mans 2020. They've won twice in June, they win now in September. And how few drivers have ever done that. Victory for Toyota. And the car that looked to be down and out halfway through the race, fate has smiled on once more. Checker flag for the number 31 Panis Racing car. That will be 3rd in LMP2. Sebastian Buemi, Kazuki Nakajima, triple winners. Brendan Hartley, a double winner with 2 different manufacturers, with Porsche and now with Toyota.
Waiting for more winners in class and podium sitters to come home.
Eurasian Racing Team Netherlands have finished. The Graf Racing car does not, so they both move up a spot.
Here come the 2 United Autosports car formed up for the finish, and the number 50 car.
Yep.
Richard Mille Racing make it home.
22 United Autosports claim victory again. Philip Hanson, Felipe Albuquerque and Paul Di Resta victorious. And the 32 car, it's a story for them of what might have been.
Edex Sport are coming home after a fantastic run from the back.
And here comes the 38 Jota Sport car behind the Rebellion. Is that the number 1 Rebellion or the number 3?
That's the one.
And here is our GT Pro Class winner. Aston Martin forming up for a photo finish as well. Alex Lynn brings the number 97 car across the line. Victory for Alex Lynn, Maxime Martin and Harry Tinknell.
Final podium finisher overall. Home comes the number 7 Toyota. Will be something like 40 seconds clear of the luckless number 3 Rebellion.
Well, Sebastian Buemi in the cap. Commiserations for the number 7 crew again. What do they have to do to win this one? Maxime Martin looking very happy. Harry Tinknell pretty happy with that. John Gore in the background as well. 1-3 for AMR means they have clinched the driver's title and the team's title in GT Pro.
Number 3 is going to be home in just a few seconds, waiting for the entire podium in GTM and for more history for Aston Martin and victory in 2 different classes today.
And there's the men in red. TF Sport Johnny Adam hangs over the barriers. He is waiting for Charlie Eastwood.
Here it comes.
Here comes the Irish driver, the TF Sport Aston Martin. apart from when his kids were born, apart from when he got married and the other things that he's supposed to remember, perhaps the biggest day in Tom Ferrier's life, winning at Le Mans with Sally Yolok, Charlie Eastwood and Johnny Adam in the Aston Martin. Yes, Charlie, yes.
Final podium finishers will be with us soon, but here comes the 51, second in GT Pro. Will cross the line as we're watching the victory lap for the number 8, correctly so.
Yep.
Pascal Vasselon then getting the congratulations of the team.
Again.
What a journey for these guys.
Yep. Grown men weep.
Still more podium finishers to come home here.
Well, most of our GTE Anfield has not made it yet. Dempsey Proton 77 looking for second place.
77 and 83 in the Ford chicane together to cross the line.
They are racing for position, and the Dempsey Proton car will take second ahead of AF Corsa.
What's luck, guys? Incredible. Well done. Strong red point. Really solid something. But that guy through, I think we know. Wow. Well done. Oh, guys. So I think he's really good.
I think he said, what the luck. I think that's about the sum of it, isn't it?
71 car.
This
has not finished.
Stopped Davide Rigon from 4th place in GTE Pro.
Has not crossed the line.
Do not tell me he has run out of fuel.
He had 7 laps on that stint, so shouldn't have run out of fuel.
Something else has gone wrong. There is a maximum lap time compared to the last lap time of the leader of your class. If you don't finish within that, you do not finish.
His last pit stop was 3 minutes and 37 seconds, which indicates we're trying to solve some kind of problem, but the 71 car has not crossed.
Will move Risi Competizione up to 4th position if he does not make it to the line within the next couple of minutes. Stopped out on track James Allen as well. We saw that, brought out the last major caution period of the race.
44 of our starters will cross the line.
Well, you know what? Halfway through the race, I didn't think we'd get that many finishing. Look at the relief. Look at the relief for Felipe Albuquerque. Not that he didn't trust Phil Hanson, but just that he, like we, expected it to be a real ding-dong battle. And Davidson pulls alongside. Guarantee he's given a big thumbs up to Phil Hanson.
That was a proper contest at the end.
It was an incredible last few years, but I have to say the ebb and flow of it and the fight in this GTE Pro battle was incredible. LMP2 went right to the wire. Yeah. LMP1 was just a tale of emotions for so many ways. And then GTE AM, really strong performances again, a fight. But you've got to say, the people that are lifting all of these trophies 100% deserve it, should be 100% proud of it. And ultimately, this race still has shown you what it's all about.
Absolutely right. We've got a great moment there as the marshals leave their post to welcome the cars home, and they deserve a massive pat on the back. They too are here, some of them against great adversity.
Absolutely right, and a lot of them have worked such a compressed weekend. They've worked such ridiculously long hours. It's been very hot. They haven't had the relief of cool, damp conditions, and they've been very busy as a result. So hats off to all the men and women in orange, to everybody who's helped put this race together, to the ACO for persevering endlessly against what must have seemed at a number of occasions like endless brick walls. They have got it done, and Le Mans reminds you every single year why you're going to have to come back again, because like a three-ring circus, it is never short of drama, the thrills and spills. For the heartbroken who didn't make it to the checkered flag, and that includes some that were running on the final lap, notice that the Ferrari has disappeared from the results. The AF Corsa number 71 car has not
It's now
finished.
shown as...
It died on the last lap. It is shown as a non-finisher.
Did not qualify as a finisher.
is tough.
Really, really tough.
That's not even the beginning of the final lap. That's 3/4 of the way round the final lap. Oh, Le Mans.
This place, this race,
Yeah.
it's never fails, does it, to produce dramas.
Sebastian Buemi, unmistakable figure. Brendan Hartley as well. Yeah, two lanky devils. And Kazuki Nakajima. When his dad was starting him off in go-karts, how could they ever possibly have imagined the trials and tribulations of this young man's career? First saw him racing in British Formula 3 when he came to Europe. And even at that stage, seemed that he was likely to follow Satoru into Formula 1.
I remember, you know, the early part of the Toyota campaign, he was the man covering all sorts of bases back at home. He was never, in the first years, the driver to do the whole championship. Meant he did lose out on potential wins here in the World Endurance Championship. But 3 wins here at Le Mans, and he absolutely enters a higher column, if you like, in the history books. Great stuff from TF Sport. That is a fairy tale for this team.
Huge result. Took it to the AMR team, battled them when it was an Aston 1-2 for the lead, battled Dempsey Proton's fleet, battled AF Corsa's Armada. You don't have an Italian Armada, but you know the meaning.